Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. This is Rajiv S. Khanna from immigration.com, the law offices of Rajiv S. Khanna, PC. Today is May 29th, 2025. This is our alternate Thursday community conference call, where I will first answer the questions that have been posted on our forums, forums.immigration.com. The questions that have been posted, I have marked some of them as frequently asked questions. I'll start with those first. Each time I answer a question, I'll invite people to ask follow-up questions. Please don't ask new questions at that time. Once I'm done answering the frequently asked questions and the regularly posted questions, it should take me about half an hour. We'll start with new questions after that. I usually split half an hour. Okay. With that, oh, by the way, I'll invite you to raise your hand, which means pressing *5 on your telephone when I invite you to. Okay. But everybody who's here, I'm going to do my very best to answer their questions before we hang up. Okay. Let's start with the posted questions. In the frequently asked questions, so somebody asked me, the new 5% remittance tax bill for non-US citizens, will it pass, and are non-citizens eligible for tax credit? Will it pass? Now that's such a difficult question to answer. On the face of it, the politics of it, as long as we are charging people who are non-citizens from sending money home, or when they send money home, I can see very few people who would stand in support of these people. So chances of it getting passed, or at least not getting opposed, appear to be quite bright. However, these provisions are not going to be separated. They're probably going to get passed as one package. And that package has a lot which has problems for both Democratic and Republican senators. It barely passed the House, which is far more radically right than the Senate. The Senate is quite right as well. But I think chances of passage in the Senate are not that good. So good for people who are sending money home. Let me just hold on. Okay. So then the next part of it is, I'm reasonably sure people will be interested about learning about this. It's part of the Big Beautiful Bill. First of all, I'm embarrassed to say that name, Big Beautiful Bill. How stupid is that? We live in a very strange world. So does it have a chance of getting passed? I addressed that. Is there a component of tax credit? Well, tax credit is only for, I think, citizens. But it's not going to be for all taxpayers. It's not going to be for non-immigrants. Otherwise, what would be the point? Okay. However, I'm not a tax expert and I can't claim to be. I almost failed my tax exam. So we'll see how it goes. I can address the immigration side of things, but not so much the tax side of things. But this is how much I kind of gleaned from what I read. *5. If you have a follow-up question, press *5, please. Next frequently asked question is, let's see. Oh, I thought there were at least, oh yeah, there's one. It's an interesting question. So we are talking about somebody who's converted from H-1B to B-1B2. Okay. Will admitting to an unsuccessful job search affect my B2 visa extension approval? And the answer is, I don't know, but I don't think so. And it's not like we have a choice. We should always be truthful. However, if an unsuccessful job search makes you uncomfortable, are you required to reveal it? And the answer is, I think so. Not required, but it's a natural progression in your petition. Why? Because here you are asking for an extension. The first time you got the B2, you got it on the basis that you're looking for a job. Wouldn't it be a natural, logical corollary that you've got to say, well, I'm not able to find a job, I'm still looking? Okay. So I've told somebody before, a young lady who was here, that when you file for a B2 extension, you should mention your efforts to find a job. And two, you should mention that you have and show that you have enough money in the bank that you don't have to work without authorization. And when you mention your job hunt, you should talk about particular companies that have interviewed you, you've interviewed with, and the outcome, so that it just doesn't sound like a bland, uh, unsubstantiated statement. Details are important, at least in my view. Star 5. If you have a follow-up question, press star 5, please. Okay. Area code 857. 857, where are you calling from?
Hi, Rajiv. I'm calling from New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question regarding the timing of things right now. You didn't, I mean, I've seen your LinkedIn post where they mentioned that the new B2 switch has been archived.
Right.
I was just wondering that if, for whatever reason, it like doesn't get allowed, or if whatever happens, they say you're not allowed to do this anymore, and the 60 days have passed. So would that count as unlawful presence? Like, what would be the
No,
situation then?
no, it should not. It should not be considered to be unlawful presence. Unlawful presence will begin the day after denial, if there is a denial. If you look at the language of the archive, it says, well, this content is outdated, but not all of it is outdated. So we don't know what is what, right? So
Okay.
therefore, when you file an application in good faith, and we used to file B1, B2s even before this policy came into being during Biden administration, we used to file B1, B2s, and they were always iffy. You never knew what's going to happen. Okay. So what is the practical approach to dealing with this? File the B1, B2, and there is no law that says you can be considered to be unlawfully present except the day after your case is denied. And even then, I think if you leave in a week or two, whatever time it procures you, it takes you to procure a stamp, or sorry, a ticket outside the United States, because it's not going to be that you walk into an airport and take a flight. You probably will have to
Right.
book a ticket. And if you do that, and it takes 1 week, 2 weeks, or even 3 weeks, I think that can be justified. At least that to me is reasonable. Of course, under Trump administration, it's difficult to see what is reasonable anymore. All right.
Great. Yeah. Um, so I just a quick follow up. I'm kind of like halfway through my grace period. Would you suggest filing it immediately, or like still give time on before the 60th day?
So if you are single, so are you single or are you married?
I wish I was married, but I'm single. Yeah.
Okay. So you wish you were married? All right. So if you are single, it makes no difference whether you file online or by mail. It's cheaper for married people to do it by mail because they're filing 2 applications. But if you are doing it online, you could do it even on the 55th day, 5-5. That still
Okay.
leaves enough gap. If something goes wrong, you can fix it. That's my estimate.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Sure.
All the best. Okay, next frequently asked question. So this is also related to the B2. This question is, can I stay in the US on B2 after H1B employment ends and the grace period was previously used? First of all, let me clarify this. A grace period is not a one-shot deal. Your grace period gets renewed with every H1B approval, whether it's an extension, an amendment, I believe it does with an amendment too, amendment, transfer, you have 60-day grace period. Okay, so it's not a one-shot deal. Going on to the question, my last working day would be May 31st. I have already completed my grace period in the past, and the answer is that doesn't matter. Which was September 1st, 2024. I went back to my country, came back with the current employer. I'm still looking for, so I'm not entirely clear. If you are on the call, please press star 5. Are you on the call? Press star 5 if you are. Okay, so it's a little bit unclear what you are saying. Let me double check if I can understand. My last working day with them would be on May 31st. I've already completed my grace period in the past. in 24, which was September, October, I went back to my country, came back with my current employer. So if you came back with a new H-1B, which I'm assuming you did, even though it's the same employer, it's an extension, you get 60 days again. Okay. But if you did not, you shouldn't even be here, because unless you have an H-1B job, you should not enter using your H-1B. Okay. So for people who do have 60-day grace period available, you should definitely consult a lawyer. If you were here, I would have talked to you now. If you have 60-day grace period, which comes with every new approval, then you can definitely file B1, B2 and stay, even though this content has been archived. Until that case is denied, you are not in illegal period. You're not unlawfully present. Okay. Star 5, if you have a follow-up question, press star 5. Okay, no follow-ups. There is one from 8572. Okay. 857, go ahead.
Hi, sir. I'm calling from New Jersey. Same person. So I wanted to ask, would the last date of employment be considered the date of payment, or the date that you were let go of?
So if we go by the content that was archived, the content said that normally the date on which your grace period begins is the date after your pay period coverage ends. So what does that mean? Let's say I worked till end of May and I got paid for end of May in July. My 60-day period begins on June 1st, even though my paycheck came in July. Because that July paycheck covers only May 31st. Okay. So normally under the archived content, the policy was it is the pay period that counts. And I think that will continue to be.
Okay. Because I had changed status last year from student to H1B in October, but from October to November I was quote unquote on bench, and I was just wondering if that 30 days will be counted. I was paid regularly from then onwards.
Well, so that's a problem area, and I won't have time to address it in detail. But if I were in your situation, I would file a complaint with the Wage and Hour Division of the Department of Labor. You have 1 year from the date of non-payment to file a complaint. Get reimbursed for that 1 month. They'll get it for you. You don't have to do anything. Okay. Even if they don't give it to you, the act of filing the complaint gives you some protection that I tried to get my money. Okay. Because your status should be tied to your availability. If you are available to work, they have to pay you or put you to work. Okay. So file a complaint with the Wage and Hour Division. They have a phone number you can call, or you can do it online. All right.
Okay.
Best of luck. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Area code 479. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Arkansas. So I have a follow-up question on the same. So I came in recently to the US, and it's been like more than 2 months. And my employer told that your grace period has completed, and he has not provided any pay slips, and he asked to go back to India as there is no potential project in pipeline. So what I'm just planning to transfer my employer. I recently got a job through another employer. So
Okay, hold on.
I just want to transfer.
Hold on. This is not strictly a follow-up question, but I'll answer it anyway. The way this works is you should also file a complaint with the Wage and Hour Division of the Department of Labor. Okay. Just Google Wage and Hour Division LCA complaint. Okay. What does that do? When you file for an H-1B transfer, you won't have any pay stubs. But if you have a complaint filed against the employer, that at least gives you a good reason. Government may consider you to be in status, and they may give you the H-1B without you having to go outside and coming back in again. Okay. So file a complaint.
Okay.
Best of luck.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Area code 978, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Pittsburgh, sir. Just as a follow-up, in case hypothetically someone's B1, B2, B1, B2, H1 to B1, B2, if that application gets denied, then there's future chances of getting, again, visitor visa get affected? Or any
Yeah, they can. They can. There is always a risk that government can say, well, you had a earlier denial of change of status. I think it's very unlikely under a reasonable regime, but under Trump administration, anything can be a ground for denial. The fact that you posted on your Facebook, Trump is a schmuck, could be ground for denial. Okay, it's a crazy country we live in. All right?
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Best of luck. All right, so let's see. These were all the frequently asked questions. I'm going to go into the regular questions. So this is somebody who was dismissed from New York University's CS program. SEVIS was terminated. There's an appeal. Should we do an appeal, reinstatement, or new visa? My relative is facing a challenging situation. He received a termination notice from the CS program as he failed twice. There was a poor health and family emergency. They did not consider his appeal, terminated his course, and as a result, SEVIS got cancelled. Oh, it happened a month before graduation. As of today, he has the following options. Do an appeal to a higher authority. I think you can do an appeal. That's definitely something you should do because you want to graduate. What are the odds of getting it approved? I don't know. These are all processes within the school. So these are not processes that are open to immigration law. So you want to do an appeal, by all means do so. Apply to another university, but then the problem is you've got a couple of issues. First of all, you probably have to go outside USA and come back in. And second, how about all the work that you have done? Would your credits be transferred? I don't know the answer to that question. That's something to discuss with another university. And if the university says, yeah, we can transfer the credits, then I won't be that worried about appealing to a higher authority. I would just transfer. Apply for university, come back on a new visa. I think the fact that he did not do well in school could be a detriment to another visa. But if he can prove that indeed he had some exceptional circumstances, which appears to be unlikely because the university didn't accept it, consulate is hardly likely to be friendlier than the university. So I think chances of getting a student visa again are dim. The only thing that could probably work is if the SEVIS could be rolled over without having to go outside USA for new visa stamping. That would be great. *5. If you have a follow-up question, press *5. All right. Next question. Changing title and salary on H-1B. Title and salary. Can we file a simple extension or it will trigger an RFE? First of all, don't be concerned with RFEs. They are a part of the process. Don't try to avoid an RFE like it's a snake in the grass. No big deal. Let there be RFE. I'm currently on H-1B approval notice. I'm in the final year of my initial 3 years. I hold dual masters, MBA and MPH. My H-1 petition was originally filed using my MBA as a research coordinator. Now I am doing research-related tasks such as literature reviews, data analysis, policy. I'm currently in discussion with a salary increase and promotion to Research Associate 1. Can we move forward with a simple H-1B extension if my title or salary changes? No, you should do an H-1B with an amendment. I mean, that's what you are doing. And if MPH is a part of the degree requirements for the new position, you should definitely include that. Okay. And I'm not concerned about RFEs. Star 5, if you have a follow-up question, press star 5. All right. Next question. H1B transfer to a startup company after PERM filing. Can I co-found a company and show the ability to pay without revenue? Probably not. I'm currently on an H1B employed by a US company. I'm in the final year of my initial 3 years, expiring May next year. My PERM was filed 12 months back and is expected to get approved July, August. I want exploring the option to co-found a company with few other co-founders, transferring my H1B to this new entity. Okay, here are my questions. Are there any advantages in staying with my current employer until the PERM and I-140 get approved? Or I'm already eligible for incremental 1-year extension? No, you're not. So you must stay with the employer until I-140 approval if you want to capture the priority date forever. If you want also the ability to extend your H1B with any employer based upon this I-140, your I-140 should remain unrevoked for 180 days. Whether it involves you staying with this employer for 180 days or not, that's between the employer and you. But unless the I-140 stays approved for 180 days, you would have no right to extend your H1B. But you'll keep your priority date, of course. Okay. Since the company is yet to be found and paying clients are yet to be obtained, we don't have any revenue. So what we are having other entrepreneurs do, we are filing some of these cases. Of course, we are still struggling with all the details that have not been filled out. I'm asking them to have as many months paychecks and expenses, etc., in the bank, in the corporate account as possible. So one of our clients is starting with 3 months, including his wage, including all the expenses. Another one has 6 months. So whatever money you can put in the bank for the company as an investment would be good for you. Is it possible to use my personal savings? You'll have to lend the money or give the money as equity to the company. That you can talk to a corporate lawyer, what is the better thing, or a CPA. Where can we find the prevailing wages for a specialty occupation in a given location? So the website is, let's see, So the website that you want to use is flag.dol.gov. Okay, that's the website. Could you please point me to any sources that provide detailed list of documents required for applying for this H1B transfer? Well, I don't have the list off the top of my head, but typically we need a copy of your approval notice. We need your paychecks. May even need your W-2. We need copies of your degrees. And that's pretty much it. That's the basic documentation. But if you have H4, there could be additional documentation. There would be additional documentation. But the basic documentation is fairly simple. Star 5. If you have a follow-up question, please press star 5. Okay. Next question. H1B approved while on L1B with Canadian permanent residence. Can I stamp in Canada and re-enter before October 1st? You cannot re-enter until 10 days before October 1st, if that is the start date of your H1B. You can you get H1B stamped in Canada? Definitely. But you can't enter too early. After approval and stamp, will they cancel my L1B? Technically, they should. But often consulates don't cancel existing visas. They should actually cancel them, but they usually don't. I believe if I exit, I cannot re-enter prior to 1st October. No, not 1st October, 10 days before 1st October. And the way it works is, so when you enter, you have a visa stamp, okay? You show the H-1B visa at the airport. They give you an I-94, and that I-94 shows that you are starting your status on October 1st. October 1st, you'll automatically be on H-1B. The 10 days that you entered before October 1st is not considered to be a part of your H-1, and you can't work during that time. Okay. So I hope this answers all your questions. Please press *5 if you have a follow-up question. Okay. Next question, which is question number 8. H-1B consular processing approved. Can I work on OPT and later transfer H-1B to a new employer? So this has been a question that's been asked like maybe 2,000 times. I've answered this question in our frequently asked questions. You can go to immigration.com and look for the frequently asked questions. Bottom line is that it's risky to assume that you'll be able to transfer without activating the H-1B. But so far, government has been approving these cases, the transfers. Will they continue to do so? I don't know. I'm just looking at what the rest of the questions are. If I start working full-time on my current OPT, will it have any impact on my H-1B consular processing? No, I don't think so. While working full-time, can I continue with the H-1B consular process through my sponsor? And the answer is, I already told you, it's a risky maneuver. I would advise not to do that. Alternatively, is it possible for the new full-time employer to file an H-1B under consular processing without changing my status? I just don't like that option. I like to do a change of status. Do I need to inform my new full-time employer that I already have a consular H-1B approved? Yeah, you'll have to bring that up. Otherwise, how are you going to get an H-1? Right? Otherwise, you'll have to go through the lottery. In the future, to activate or transfer my H-1B, do I need to return to my original sponsor first? Or can any employer file a change of status? The answer is the same as I gave in the first round, which is they are approving these cases, but they could stop at any time. So it's best to activate the H-1B. Okay. *5 if you have a follow-up question. Press *5. Next question, which is question number 9. Long-term international travel on advance parole. Will it affect my EAD or reentry? I'm currently working for Deloitte on an EAD, derivative of my father's employment-based green card. I also hold valid advance parole. Employer has offered me an international opportunity. Would that affect my EAD status? No. My ability to safely return? No. As long as, because you're a derivative, it's not your case. It should not, as long as you return within the life of your advance parole. Okay. I don't see any implications, frankly. Of course, it's a good idea to talk to your dad's lawyers who are handling your case. But overall, this is perfectly doable in my opinion. Press *5 if you have a follow-up question. Press *5. Okay. This is the last posted question. We're doing very well, as we had kind of estimated that half an hour. So we are at that mark now. OPT employment not reported immediately. How to avoid SEVIS termination and deportation risks? My wife is on first year of OPT. EAD started 25. She forgot to report employment. She reported in May. So it started in Feb. She reported in May through the university portal. Upon asking of potential problems, DSO said be prepared if I ask about this lapse. Status in SEVIS is still active, and we hope DSO will update it before SEVIS is terminated. Can we take any proactive steps? Nope, I can't think of anything else. Talking with your DSO, having them get the process started is the best thing you can do. I can't think of anything else. Press *5 if you have a follow-up question. Okay. Anyone who has any question, press *5. Let's get started on new questions. Anyone who has any question, press *5. So far, we have only 4 questions. 6 questions now. Okay. Let's get started. Let's go to area code 716 first. 716, where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm from Buffalo. I was there previously.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask one question, sir, because so I don't have a DL yet, and it's almost been a year since my husband has been unemployed. He was on H1, I was on H4. Now we were on B2, and now I'm waiting for my F1 to get approved. Can I apply for a driver's license in New York State?
Okay, that's a matter of state law. I can't comment on it.
Okay.
Every state has its own laws. All 50 states have 50 different variations. So you need to check with your state. Okay?
Okay.
Best of luck.
But the ones in between statuses don't really have a problem, right? Like
If you are, see, at least that's the way it should be, that it's your current status that matters, not what it was in the past. They are not going to.
Current, we don't know, right? They're still waiting for approval.
So you can ask them if you are waiting in between statuses, but you have a pending status. I know that in Virginia, they do give you a driver's license to cover you for a certain period.
Okay, I will check.
Yeah.
And so I have one more question regarding H1B. I'm not sure about this. I was recently told by a friend who lost job on H1 that can an NGO file for a non-cap exempt H1B, and you can work for like, I don't know, 10 hours a week or something.
Okay, hold on.
Is that like...
There is a organization out there that's promising people that we'll do your H1B and that you can work 10 hours or 5 hours, whatever, with us and work also simultaneously with another employer. It sounds like fraud to me. I don't know the organization. I don't know what the deal is. It sounds like fraud to me. Why? Because the employer is required to pay your entire H1B fees, attorney's fees, your filing fees, which is a few $1,000s. Why would they do that? Okay. Unless they are asking you to pay them back, because that's illegal. That's illegal for you and illegal for them. So that just doesn't make any sense. I think it's a bit of a flim-flam. That's my opinion. Okay.
Okay, but if they were okay with doing that and employ you for a few hours, is that still legal?
Yeah, H1B can be part-time. And if you have a cap exempt H1B, you can get a concurrent H1B for a cap employer also. That's legal.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Best of luck. Let's go to area code 413. 413, where are you calling from?
Hello, I'm calling from Georgia. So I have two questions. First one is that I'm currently on cap subject H1B, meaning that I got it through my lottery.
Okay.
I want to work part-time for a university. So will I be eligible for concurrent cap exempt H1B, and how much will it approximately cost?
You are definitely eligible for a concurrent H1B. How much will it cost is your employer's problem, not yours. If they ask you to pay even $1 towards that, it's illegal.
Okay, so in this case, university or my primary employer?
University has to pay for it. It's their H1B.
Right, but it will be related to my primary H1. So in case I lose my main job.
If you lose your main job, that main job is cap quota job. So yeah, if you lose your main job, you can still continue working with the university. No problem.
Okay, and I have one last question. So let's just say that I instead volunteer for this university instead of a paid position. So are there any changes that I need to make to my cap subject H1B to be legally compliant?
No. As long as the job is pure volunteer job, university is for profit or not for profit?
Not for profit.
Okay. And if the position is a true internship position, I don't see any problem with it. You're not getting paid for it in cash or in kind. Okay.
Right.
Yep, no problem. Do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Best of luck, ma'am. Area code, let's see, 737, please go ahead.
Hey, Rajiv, good afternoon. I'm calling from Georgia. First of all, thank you very much for your time and your service to the community. Really
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
My pleasure.
I just want to give you a glimpse about my situation, and then I'll ask questions for
Okay.
better explanation.
All right.
So I was employed as full-time employee in company A on my H-1B status.
All right.
So on November 13th, I got a formal notification that my company A is laying me off because
Okay.
of the restructuring.
All right.
But I mean, as a company policy, they put me on. We have a severance package offered to me, and as per that severance package, I will be getting my salaries and considered as an employee till January 21st. So my end date will be January 21st, 2025.
Mm-hmm.
But my access and all got revoked after the day I got that notification in November.
All right.
I got my regular salary, like bi-weekly, the way I was getting earlier also.
Mm-hmm.
So in the meantime, I searched for the other job, and fortunately, I got a job in company B in the month of December. So I got on 20th December, I got the offer letter. They initiated my H1 transfer, and I got on December 24th, I got my receipt for the transfer, and as it is on premium, on December 31st, I got my approval. So on January 2nd, I joined a new company, company B, and I start working from January 2nd onward, and starting getting salary also. So now my question is, for company A, which laid me off, what will be my employment end date?
So I have, because you gave me so many dates, I am lost about what dates are relevant. So here's what I need to know. You received your full paycheck, and what was the last pay period for which you received your full paycheck?
It's January 21st. That was my official end date.
Okay. So that means on January 22nd, you would have gone out of status. But in the meantime, you filed and got another H-1B approval, correct?
Yes.
And that was activated.
Yes.
That was activated, and you had actually filed in December. So it looks like everything is fine, and you really don't have anything to worry about. There may be a period when you were getting paid from both companies, right?
Yes.
And that's perfectly okay. Why? That's perfectly okay, because you are getting paid under a pre-arranged job, which you never actually did anything. You just got paid. So you got paid as a part of an incentive for layoff, even though you were working for a second company. That payment is perfectly legal. Nothing wrong with that.
Okay. So that's 20 days of overlap from January 2nd to January
Perfectly okay. And I would say power to you. I hope you had many more days like that. Okay.
Thanks for that. And now my company B is planning to initiate my PERM.
Uh-huh.
So I'll convey to that the company that 22nd January is my last day for the previous employer. This will not have this overlap will not have any impact on my PERM.
Discuss it with your lawyers, not with your company. Discuss it with your lawyers. You can tell the company, my last working day was this, but I received paychecks until this.
Okay. Because in the questionnaire they asked me for the end date, and I conveyed January 21st as my end date.
Yeah. So in your case, I think end date should be the day you stopped working. Okay.
But in terms
hold
of
on.
document, I don't have any document.
Hold on. That is only if you don't need to cover the interim period. Okay. If you need to cover the period from when you stopped working to when the second company filed your case for an H-1B, and then you can use the date of your paycheck as the last working day. Because they are both true. They're just true in different ways.
Okay.
Okay.
So it will not have any impact on my PERM.
No. Zero impact. Okay.
Okay.
Best of luck.
So January 21st will be my last.
I'm
working
okay
day.
with that.
Sure.
I have no problem with that. All right.
Sure.
Best
Thank you.
of,
Thank you, Rajiv.
you're
Really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Best of luck. Area code 636. Where are you calling from?
Hi, Rajiv ji. I'm calling from Missouri. Thank you so much for your service.
My pleasure.
To give you a brief about my situation, I have a few questions.
Mhm.
So I entered on H1B October 2024,
Okay.
and I worked for a couple of months,
Okay.
and then I was on vacation for almost a month, and then searching for a new project for a month,
Mhm.
and then I got a new project.
Mhm.
I worked in a new project for a couple of months, and then I had to come back to India.
Mhm.
And I was actually on leave when I came to India, but
Mhm.
15 days into my leave, they said that I'm being laid off,
Okay.
and my current H1B employer has stopped responding. So basically, has not given me the last 3 months of paycheck.
Okay.
And now I want to I'm in India right now, and I'm considering a H1B transfer. So
Okay.
I don't know what my
So
options are.
so
And
do a Google search for LCA complaint wage and hour division, WHD. Okay.
okay.
You can file the complaint even from India. That's not a problem. And you can do it online. File a complaint. Ask for the wages that they didn't pay you plus the 1 month they put you on bench. Okay.
Okay.
So they,
And
yeah. Go ahead.
so my question is, if this employer is like missing or is closed or gone bankrupt or something like that, and I don't want to, I tried talking, reaching out to them, and since I was carrying a laptop, they said that no, that can be taken as something, as a basis for not filing your wages, and then he stopped responding. So instead of going that route, my question is like, if I have to do an initial H1B transfer, will
No,
pay stubs be
hold
absolutely
on,
important, or
hold on 1 second. I don't like loose ends, especially under this administration. If there is something that is not fully explainable, it can create a problem for you. So what you should do is,
okay,
you should file a complaint. That way the record is clean. I didn't get paid because they didn't pay me. And I took steps to recover my money. Okay. You may never see a dime of
okay,
it. If they are gone, that's fine. But at least you have a copy of what you did. In the meantime, go for your H1B transfer. Don't think twice about it. If the consulate asks you a question about any of the missing periods, you have a very good explanation showing I didn't get paid because they didn't pay me, so I filed a complaint.
great, okay.
All right? That's the right thing to do.
Okay.
If you are my friend or a
Thanks,
member of,
Rajiv.
yeah, if you are a member of my family, that's exactly what I would have you do. All right?
Great. I have a couple more follow-up questions. Is there a way I can know about my current status, like if they've filed a revocation or if they've kept it the way it is?
It doesn't matter. Assume that your case has been revoked. Next.
Okay.
Yeah, next question. Make it real quick. I've got a couple of people waiting.
Yeah. So I heard about this new entrepreneurship H1B route. So my question is, instead of finding a job and if I find a job, should I go for a new visa, or the existing visa is valid for another 6 months? Can I use that, or should I go for a entrepreneurship H1B if that works out?
Yeah,
What would you suggest?
that's a fairly
Basically, I want to know whether I have to get stamped again
well.
or get a new visa again.
I think you should get stamped again. I'll tell you why. Google Section 222G as in girl, INA. INA means Immigration and Nationality Act. 222G INA says, well, hold on 1 second. Let me just check something. INA 222G. I think it only applies if your I-94 is expired. 1 second.
And
Visa.
when would a 9
Hold on.
expire?
Yeah. So visa overstays, unlawfully present. Interpreting when and okay, advising 222G. Yeah, I believe you can double check this. I believe you are not subject to 222G, which leads to automatic cancellation of visas. So you should be able to use the same visa with a new approval. All right?
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Rajiv.
You're welcome. Best of luck. Okay, I've got two last people on the call. One is 978. 978, where are you calling from?
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you, sir. I'm calling from Pittsburgh. Thanks for all help to everyone.
Of course.
So what I heard basically, I think from H1 to B1, B2 or F2, it's kind of dealing with a fire uncertainty is there to it. And for Canadian citizen with approved I-140 on B1B, it seems like sitting in Canada and then looking for a job may be a safer option, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, that's what I think. I think that as a Canadian citizen, you have so many options. You have TN, you have E2, you have E1. Why mess that up? You don't really have to stay here. You are right next door.
Got it, sir. Okay. So, sir, my question is that so when I look for a job, even if my EB1B based I-140 was approved 6 months ago, now I can apply on TN as well, look for a job on TN as well.
See,
to come back.
So here,
I-140 wouldn't make much.
If you had asked me under Biden admin, I would have said there's a reasonable chance you may not have a problem. Because there is a ruling from, I believe it was either BIA or Administrative Appeals Office that said, just because somebody's I-140 is approved is not a ground for denying TN. But that's usually a ground for denial. Okay. So if you have an I-140 approved, TN is up in the air. I don't know if you're going to be able to get it or not. All right?
Okay, I see. Even if it's an employer-based EB1B, still it's the same, right?
TN is always employer-based. You can't do
my
TN.
my EB1B, I-140 was employer-based.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Yeah, that doesn't matter.
Right. Got it. Okay.
That's
so my H1 currently has like validity until 2027 to it. But when I look for another H1 based job, will I get like a 3 years? I have finished my 6th year of H1.
No, do you have? But you have an I-140 approved, right? And was the I-140? Did the I-140 stayed approved for at least 180 days?
Yes, I-140 got approved 180 days.
Okay, so just do the math for me. When was it approved approximately?
So it was October till April, so 6 months.
Okay.
About 186 days.
So that is perfect. So now you can keep getting H1B extensions until your date becomes current. If your date is not current, you can get 3-year extension with any employer. Okay?
Okay. But my new employer has to file again I-140 and everything, right?
They do, yes.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Best of luck.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Last question of today, area code 559. Where are you calling from? 559?
Hi, sir. I'm calling from California, Sunnyvale.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. So once the H1B extension gets approved, then the I-94 get updated online as well, or we just need to consider the I-94, whatever the date given on the approval copy?
Yeah, the date on the approval copy. So when the 797A comes, the approval notice, it has the I-94 attached at the bottom. From what I remember...
yes. Yeah, it will be there.
Yeah. From what I remember...
So my question is, like, will it will update the online I-94?
Yeah, I don't think they do because I had this issue come up, I think last week only. Somebody was waiting for their nunc-pro-tunc approval, retroactive approval. And the H1B was approved and they were celebrating. I said, wait a minute. We don't know if it was approved retroactively because we don't have the dates. We have an I-94 number, But it doesn't tell us from which date to which date. So don't celebrate until we actually see the 797A. Okay?
Okay.
At least that is how it was
Okay.
just a week back. I don't know how it is today.
So we just need to consider the 797A I-94 copy, whatever is attached to the bottom. Correct?
Yeah, that is the one you need to look for. All right?
Okay.
Best of luck.
Okay.
All right. All right, folks, 8 minutes to spare. Not bad. I can go on to things that I need to do. Good to see you all. Take care. Best of luck. And I will see you Thursday after the next one. Bye-bye.